Hello and welcome to a session I'm calling Strike a Pose Pilates. We will be incorporating some of my favorite Pilates exercises with some of my favorite yoga poses. You may like to use yoga blocks as we will be moving swiftly from lying down to suddenly standing up nice and tall. We will begin lying down, stretching out arms and legs nice and long, reaching overhead. Give the knees a nice little shake, shake, shake. And you can reach the arms up to the sky and shake the arms out as well. Just starting to generate some energy and warm up through the body and mind. Bending knees, place feet onto the mat and stretch the arms up to the sky as you inhale, open the arms wide to the side and exhale, float them back up again. Inhale, open and exhale, floating up. We'll alternate with the knees dropping out to the sides as the arms reach up to the sky. Knees come to the center as arms open to a T shape. Moving back and forth, coordinating and concentrating. Inhale and exhale. Keep the arms open in that T shape and let's look over one shoulder and then the other. Warming up through the neck. Reach the arms long. And now start to drop the knees in the opposite direction of where you're looking. Twisting, rotating, and breathing. Come back to the center, reach the arms up to the sky, pelvic tilts, lifting tailbone and dropping tailbone. Feel the rounding and arching in the spine. Add the arms reaching overhead as you drop the tailbone down and the arms lifting up as you point the tailbone up to the sky. Feel the abdomen participating, the breath work connected. Find your neutral pelvis and reach those laser beam fingertips hovering above the ground down by your side. Pick up the legs into tabletop. We'll begin with our first Pilates move, the single leg stretch. Pointing toes, extend one leg long, and then bend the opposite knee into that tabletop. And switch, and switch. Long and strong arms. We can lift the head, neck, and shoulders away from the ground, looking forward. Breathing in, staying nice and steady with the trunk of the body into the mat. Option to bring the hands behind the head, support the neck and head. Continue those single leg stretches. Flex the feet and alternate the legs a little bit faster. And then hug one knee a little closer to the chest for a double pulse, pulse and switch. Pulse, pulse and switch. Keep lifting shoulders away from the ground. Alternatively, you could rest the head and neck down to the mat. Hug the knees into the chest, rest the head. Let's rock it out side to side. Let it go, breathe it in. Move into rolling like a ball, and this is where I'm going to set up those blocks on the highest level because from here we're going to be moving into standing and our first yoga pose. So exhale to roll back, inhale up, or if you prefer, inhale back and exhale. And this time you're going to push yourself all the way up, coming into vertical. Standing tall on your mat, establish mountain pose. Bend one knee, lifting it up in front of the hip. Sole of the foot on the opposite inner thigh into tree pose. Extend the arms open to a T shape. Energize those arms and hands and fingertips as you lift to the sky, looking high. Interlace fingers, thumb and index extend long. Balance and breath. Squeeze into the center. And slowly open those arms back into a T shape. Adding a side bend towards that top knee. Fold one arm across and low, and the other arm up and overhead. And then take that bottom hand and reach up to the top wrist, pulling length through the shoulder and side body and hip, dropping both feet down, squeeze inner thighs together, moving from tree pose into blowing palm side bend. Inhale to the center, mountain pose. And float leg number 2. Knee lifts right in front of that hip, maybe a little higher. Focus on your single leg balance as you bring the bottom of the foot as high as you can to the opposite inner thigh. Open those arms to the side, and with your next inhale, raise the arms higher. Interlace, leaving the thumb and index finger free to extend upwards. Lift your gaze higher. And move into your side bend over that knee. Sweep one arm low and across the hips as the other arm arcs up and overhead. Inhale, bottom arm reaches up to the top wrist, dropping both legs down, press feet down, squeeze legs to the center line as you look up to those reaching arms. Breath in. And bring it back to the center. Slowly release the arms. Establish mountain pose. Roll the shoulders. And step to the back of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. As we exhale, fold over those straight legs. Forward bend, hands on the shins. Let's inhale, look forward, and exhale, walk the hands out into plank pose. Shoulders on top of wrists. If you're feeling strong, we can add that push-up, bending elbows and exhaling back up to the top of the plank. Come into a low seated kneeling position. Quickly transition to the top of the mat, extend arms and roll down through the spine into supine, total body stretch. Extend arms and legs, shake out the knees. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the mat, arms by the side, hovering above the ground. Exhale, lift both legs up into tabletop. Double leg stretch. Squeeze the legs together. Softly point the toes. Extend the legs on an angle outwards. And then add the lift of the arms to the ceiling as you exhale, extend. Keep hips planted, neutral spine. Reach the arms even farther overhead now as the legs reach in the opposite direction. Try not to arch the back. Stay connected with your core. And you can add the ab curl as knees come in. We'll curl head, neck, and shoulders, looking forward to those knees. Arms sweep down by the side. And see if you can keep the head, neck, and shoulders lifted the whole time. Moving the arms and legs, maintaining your core connection. Hands behind the head. Continue the legs extending and bending. Hold the legs out nice, long and strong, pointed toes, arms by the side, and do little clicks of the legs together, coming in and in and in and in and exhale, exhale, exhale. Good job. Drop knees in. Let's rock it out side to side. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Setting up my blocks again as we move through, rolling like a ball. If you want to try holding the front of the legs around the shins, a little more challenging than holding underneath the legs. A few more times and then we're going to try standing from rolling like a ball. Press those feet down, maybe using the blocks. Come into your forward bend, hands on the shins. Let's inhale halfway up, exhale, fold into the legs, and then float up to standing tall. Hands at heart center, and mountain pose. Establish your single leg balancing. Can you rotate that leg so knees out to the side, holding the bottom of the foot, and place that leg on top of the supporting leg. Reach the arms enthusiastically forward as we sit back. Inhale, lift the arms and the gaze up to the sky. And then you can bring the hands a little lower to the blocks, to the floor. You could try prayer hands, stacking arms on top. Or even try hands holding the shin, calf of the supporting leg. Try straightening the supporting leg, palms to the ground, and drop the head. Stay for an inhale and an exhale. Bend the supporting knee and coming back up to standing tall. Extend that leg. Let's point the toes and do a few little pulses here, 4 or 5. Finding mountain pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Leg number 2, lift it up right in front of that hip. Stand tall and rotate. Find the bottom of the foot. Place that leg on top of the supporting leg. Open up the arms energetically. It's okay to wobble. And if you can, lift the arms a little higher as you sit down a little deeper, looking upwards, breath in, abdominals in. Lowering the hands to those blocks or the floor. Focus point is on the ground. Prayer hands, we can try balancing arms on top of that top leg. Or holding a little lower to the supporting leg. Let's straighten that supporting leg as we drop fingertips or palms to the ground. Release head and neck. Stay for a breath. Bending into supporting knee. With lots of abdominal support, we'll come right back up, lifting the arms. Extend that top leg forward, T-shape arms, point the toes, and let's pulse that leg without leaning back. And mountain pose. Take a step to the back of the mat. You have the mat in front of you now. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Looking up high, and exhale, spill forward over the legs. Hands on the shins. Let's inhale halfway up and refold, shaking out the head and neck. Let gravity pull some more space in that cervical spine as we nod the head, shake out the head, walk the hands forward into plank. If you want to add that push-up, now's the time. Dropping knees, we'll sit back into child's pose. Let's rest the forehead. Breathe through the spine, down to the tailbone. Exhale into softer shoulders. Walk the hands in and let's roll up to kneeling. Sitting off to the side, sweeping legs in front. Scoot forward so there's space behind you as we roll down with control onto your back. Total body stretch. Shake out those legs, rotate them internally, externally. Bend the knees, feet as wide as the mat, and let's twist the legs side to side. Breathing into hips, pelvis, rib cage. Arms by the side. Exhale, lift both legs up through tabletop, extending legs up to the sky. Reach the arms. And let's hold the back of one leg as we drop the other leg lower. Double pulse and switch these scissoring legs. Pulse, pulse, and switch. Pulse, pulse, and switch. Nice and steady through the trunk of the body, shoulders relaxed, toes reaching long. Can add the ab curl, lifting head, neck, and shoulders, reaching up a little higher towards that ankle as we pull the top leg in and extend the bottom leg long. Both legs super energized. Hands behind the head, let's do single switches. Switch and switch and slice and slice. Flex the feet, lifting higher, pressing out longer into those heels. And hold here, opposite arm will reach up to the sky and we'll do some super scissors. Can always drop the head down or keep your ab curl as we slice and slice, thinking happy thoughts, adding a little twist at the top. Opposite hand taps that top foot as we twist and exhale, and long, strong legs. Good work. Hug the knees in. Find butterfly, soles of the feet together, rock it out side to side. Release any tension in the hips, pelvis, glutes, low back, and move into rolling like a ball. I'm just setting up those blocks again. I used to like inhaling as I started and exhaling coming up, but I prefer the exhale now to roll back as I find it gives me more core support for my low back. Decide which version of the breath you prefer, starting with an inhale or an exhale. Few more, and then we'll come right up into standing from here. Lengthen the legs, hands on the shins. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, release over those legs, soften the knees, and let's do a slow motion roll up to standing. A shoulder roll or two at the top. Coming into our last standing pose, the dancer, we'll start with a quadricep stretch. Bend one knee and that same side hand will hold the foot, pulling the heel close to the body. Maybe both hands can reach for that back foot opening across the chest. Tip it forward, looking down. Lift that back knee higher as you drop the chest lower. Stay calm. Lots of work happening in that supporting leg, ankle, knee, and hip. Inhale, come back up. Try to maintain your balance. Release the opposite arm forward and let the spine extend. Arch the back, press the back foot into the palm, and slowly lowering that front hand down. Can rest it on a block, on the supporting shin, onto the ground, or keep it floating in the air. Lift the back foot higher. Stay calm. And exhale, coming back up. And a graceful dismount into mountain pose. Float those heels up, balance. And press them back down into the earth. Get grounded. Leg number 2. Find your quadricep stretch, same side hand holding that back foot. Stay tall. Both hands can reach for the back foot, pulling it in closer. And start to tip forward, looking down. Keep your bottom big toe planted into the ground. Lift that back knee. Drop collarbone. Inhale, coming back up. Release the opposite arm forward into dancer. Back leg pressing enthusiastically into that palm. Can try lowering the hand, the front arm a little lower. And if that bottom hand is resting on a surface, you can really press down to lift up and out of your top limbs. And if you're wobbly, shaky, you lose your balance, you're just going to quickly reestablish, tune into the breath, a nice focus point, bring it back up to standing. And effortlessly return to mountain pose. Yay! Float those heels up, breath in, and press them back down again. Roll the shoulders, and take a step to the back of your mat. Last Pilates exercise, followed by one more yoga pose. Let's inhale up and exhale, fold over the legs, hands on the shins. Let's prepare, lift the spine halfway, refold into those legs, bending one knee, then the other. Looking forward, walk it out into plank. Hold plank and breathe, or add that push-up. And then come into hands and knees. Let's sneak in some cat and cows here. I like curling the toes into the ground, getting a nice stretch through the arch of the foot. Looking up as we arch, dropping the head as we round, tuck the tail under. Come down all the way onto your front body. We'll set up for swimming. Reach the arms forward, palms facing in. Long, strong legs lengthening back and behind you. Looking down, hovering the face above the ground, lift one arm and the opposite leg. Reach out and away from the center. The arm and leg should be at the same height at the top of the lift. Exhale, reach, lengthen out, and place it down with control. Both arms, both legs, floating up, reaching out, placing it down gracefully. Exhaling up and inhaling down. Try staying up this next time. Reach one arm and the opposite leg a little higher and let's switch, switch, switch. Flutter, flutter, flutter. Swimming, floating, elongating, and even trying to breathe. All at the same time. Reach a little longer. You got a few more. And then rest it down. Forehead on top of stacked hands, bend the knees and rock it out side to side. Let the hips and pelvis move with. Release any tightness or tension in the low back or hips. And similar to that dancer pose, we're going to find that quadricep stretch. Same side hand is going to pull that back foot towards the glute. Press the hip flexor down. Let the front of the shoulders stretch as the foot presses into the palm. Breathe in. Switch sides. Try to lengthen the tailbone. You can always stay here in your quadricep stretch, working on the side that feels tighter. Option to bend both knees, reaching back with both hands into bow pose. Find that same extension we found in dancer. Extending the spine, lifting the chest. I like flexing the feet, maybe looking to the sky. The knees want to get wider, but try to encourage those inner thighs to draw inwards. In Pilates, we move in this pose. It's called rocking. So you're rocking on your front body. You can try. Try not to be too much of a headbanger here. Lengthen up, breathe it in. It's just a sensation. Gracefully, slow and controlled, let it go. Just drop the head to one side, rock out the hips a little side to side. Breathe in. Breathe out. You did it. Coming up a little higher, elbows under shoulders for Sphinx pose. Stay for a moment before segueing into elbow plank. Feel free to keep knees down or extend those strong, energetic legs. Lift belly button up and away from the ground, and then bring the palms to the space where your elbows were, coming up higher into plank. And if you want to add one more push-up, now's your chance. You'll pike those hips high to the sky, downward dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Reach heels down. How long can your arms be? Because we've got the blocks, I'm just setting them up on the middle level, hands on top of the blocks. And if you're feeling peppy, you might do a jump through. Bringing feet together. Letting palms press, shifting your weight forward and back. Little buoyancy in the knees. And with confidence, we'll just bring those legs forward and in front of us with a big congratulations. Let's inhale up and over those legs. Forward bend. Coming back up, sitting tall. Have some space behind you. And if you want to use your blocks for the final Shavasana, I'm just setting them up. One will rest between my shoulder blades and the other one will support my head. This just gives a little openness to the heart, chest, front of the shoulders, and it really activates some pressure points between the shoulder blades. Can keep legs straight or bring soles of the feet together, knees drop out to the side. Inhale, let's sweep arms up and overhead, and exhale, floating arms down. And again, inhale, try to keep arms as close to the ground as they're sweeping overhead. And exhale, returning down. Just a little bit of mobility for the shoulders, connected to some breath work. Let's keep the arms down, palms turned up. You can close the eyes and breathe into this supported back bend, hip opener, heart opener. Letting all the work of the Pilates exercises and the yoga poses take their effect. You can extend the legs from here. Take a few more deep breaths in. Long, luxurious exhales. After all that effort and hard work, it's important to counterbalance with some relaxation. Stretch arms overhead. Reaching one leg longer than the other. Small little shifts of movement into the body. Bring arms down and just slowly looking forward, taking your time coming up and off of those blocks. Coming into a seated position, hands at heart center. And thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time.